Hey guys, a very Zach Richardson type of video. I don't mean to copy him or copy his format, but I really enjoy his types of sit down, reflecting, post session kind of videos. So I just want to do that, and I wanted to do it after my most recent comp, which I arguably think I kind of failed at. I have a ton of excuses and a ton of reasons why I think I didn't perform well, but I just really wanted to sit down and reflect and actually watch the footage again, because I have been a little scared and sad and disappointed about my performance. We're just gonna sit down and I'll talk to you about what was going through my mind, and I think this will be a good activity for me. If you guys are interested, stay along. If you're not, don't worry about it. Just a little context. This comp was the first comp back from my time in the US. This was basically the qualifiers for the Southeast Asian Boulder League circuit of competitions. The winner of this comp would basically get sponsored flights and tickets for all the Southeast Asian Boulder competitions. It was a scramble format for the qualifications. Yeah, let's just start. So right now I'm just trying to get in the zone. I'm trying to focus and lock it in, but it's difficult. There's a lot of noise, a lot of distractions. Right now I'm getting on my first boulder. It's a big coordination, pretty straightforward, and I was feeling the move, and I realized I had to jump way harder. I think it's kind of like a semi paddle-ish move where you have to match your hand and pull, and I think the timing of it was quite important. Right now, my first few attempts, I'm just feeling the move and feeling the movement and what I have to do, and I'm getting closer and closer, but I'm struggling with it a bit because I'm landing a bit too hard and I'm pushing away from the end position and I'm going backwards. So I needed to be a bit more analytical and realize I had to glide with the momentum to come forward more, and I needed to commit to getting it, and that was the first time I got it, and I knew it was a good hold, but I think the end position the hold was positioned a little bit to the right, so I knew that I had to do a secondary hop to really get to the end position and not barn door. And I'm just feeling the moves, and I'm getting it more and more dialed. On this attempt, I finally get the end hold quite good, but I couldn't do the hop, so I spun out, and I was getting closer and closer, and I did the hop the first time, and I just was a little bit late to the hop, and I needed to adjust for that. And this attempt, I got it. It was super easy, and then the rest of it was pretty straightforward for me. I just needed to cross over and then jump to this final hold, which was a jug, and then just become stable, and that was the first boulder that I sent. Moving on to the second boulder, I knew looking at all these boulders that this one would be the hardest for me, so I figured I should get on it pretty early in the round so I can get better chance at it and also not waste my energy on climbing it. And I figured it was some sort of a mantle coordination move, but I saw people put the other leg up and kind of cheat it, so I wanted to try that first because it looked a bit more possible, and I quickly realized it wasn't the way to go, so I went to the coordination and my hand just slipped there because I had my hand a bit too high on that first hold. I'm just here brushing it. I jump really hard to get it, and then I swing out, and I think my biggest mistake was getting on this boulder and putting a lot of time into it, because going into this qualification round, I knew I haven't tried this move before, and it was a completely foreign movement, and I think I just was spending time to learn it rather than to send it, and I don't think that was the strategy to do in a comp. You shouldn't be trying to learn moves. You should be trying to get boulders and to get tops, and I was just a little stubborn on this one, because whereas the red one or the pink one, I knew that I could do that move. I just was a bit too stubborn on that one. So after that boulder, I moved onto this gray volume boulder that looked like my style. It was compression-y, heel hook intensive type of boulder, but actually I think this was the point which marked I kind of like my downhill deterioration of my headspace, and I think the pressure was starting to build, and I was starting to feel the competition. I originally thought it was some sort of a 1-2 kind of coordination move, and I thought that was the way to go, and I was trying it, but I also saw people doing the heel hook, so I was also trying that. Here I commit fully to my beta, and I was trying, maybe it was this type of move, and I think it didn't feel correct, it didn't feel comfortable, and then I finally settled to try the proper correct beta, I guess, and I think this really showed a weakness in my climbing, where I think I feel like I can't do a move if it doesn't feel 100% comfortable or certain. So I just had to grit my teeth and really trust my hands that I could continue, and obviously I do it. I do the move, and I do the boulder first go as well, and I think it was just a shame that I didn't I wasn't a bit more sneaky and looking at other people's beta, and I kind of faffed around a bit, and I think that kind of took a bit of time. But once I sent it, it was really easy. It wasn't intensive or anything, and it was just a shame that I didn't get it a bit sooner. After that, I then moved onto this pink slabby cordo kind of boulder, and my first attempt, I thought it was a straight jump up and kind of standing on the volume with no hands. But actually, people figured out that you could break the movement down into 2 steps, where you could get above the volume and then just stand on the volume. And I think I was just a bit too futuristic with my beta reading. I get up there for the first time, and then I stand up. It was quite easy. I think I was pretty comfortable in this position. I've been working a lot on my slabs, and I felt like I was getting pretty good at it. But actually, I wanted to comment that actually I think this boulder in particular was quite good setting wise, but just positioning wise, it was really, really shit. I absolutely hated climbing it because I had to basically wait for the boulder next to it for people to not be in the fall zone for me to do this move, and I think that really messed with my head and really messed with me trying hard. So I think that was just poor planning on the organizers' point of view. Yeah, and then I didn't get it, and I just felt like I was wasting time on it, so I tried to go on to this blue boulder that we're seeing right now. At this point, I'm getting super stressed out because I expected to be able to climb all these boulders quite quickly, and this is my flash attempt of this blue thing, which I thought was quite easy looking at it, and it looked like I could climb it, and I get to this hold, and I don't know why, but I really tried to make this thumb in the bolt hole work for some reason, and then it just placed me in a really awkward position, and I couldn't trust my feet, and then I couldn't move on to the next move, and I just got really pumped out, and I think I was just struggling, and I was getting really distracted, so I decided to jump down and try again. But I just wanted to make a point that actually I waited almost like 7 to 8 to 9 minutes to get my first attempt on this boulder, and the boulder round was only an hour, so that was a long time to wait. And I swear, like, the judges kept giving people who placed their card after me the go-ahead to climb first before me, and looking around, it definitely felt that way. I think there were people who gave their scorecard in afterwards that got to climb before me, and I think that added another layer of distractions. and I started to really feel the time pressure. So in this attempt, I just kind of really went for it, and I was climbing quite sloppily, and I knew that I wasn't on point when I was climbing this, and then I had my foot slipped, and I was just like, nah, I'm done. I'm moving on to the next boulder, and I think that was another big mistake. I think I could have gotten that boulder, and I think that would have also been a differential for me to get into the finals, but that's how competitions go. I then moved on to this boulder, which I flashed that move actually, and then I barn doored. But by this time, the round was basically ending quite soon, and I was really starting to feel the pressure, and I just rapid fire this boulder, and I think I was just in a bad mindset. I think I was really trying to rush things and really trying to make things work, but I think I made a few too many mistakes to get to finals by this time. I knew this boulder had a bit of tops already, so I knew that was quite easy. But I think knowing that other people have topped it gave me extra pressure, and I was just not climbing well. This last move, I knew people had to smear and then foot swap, or they could do either or and then jump to it, but I thought I could just span it, and I wasted an attempt on that one. But I knew that the foot swap was the beta, and I thought I knew better. And I think this time I was committed to doing the foot swap, and I go up here and I try it. But I was just a little too sloppy, and I didn't trust it enough. So I went up again, and I really just committed to that beta, and I really tried and focused on just the climbing. But I think at this point I just spent a bit too many attempts on it and a bit too much time on it. And I think I should have just, again, been a bit more sneaky and looked at other people's beta to not cause me to waste more time. And then I get this end, but I knew that I didn't have much time left. I think my next decision was probably the biggest mistake I'd made. I knew that I only had enough time to try and get one more send of a boulder, and instead of going on this blue M1 boulder that you see in the background, which was a slabby Gaston and push move, I decided to go back on this stupid green thing and just kept hammering it. I just forgot about it. I was just too distracted, and I was just thinking about other things, and I was just worried, and I was just being in my own head. So I go back on this boulder and I try everything I can on it. I try this new beta, but I knew that I only had one attempt left before the timer was out, and this was the attempt. And I basically messed up, and that was it. And that was the qualification round. I handed in my scorecard, and I knew deep down that I didn't make it, and I made a few too many mistakes. But you live and you learn. What could I have done differently? I think there was a lot of things I could have done differently. I think pre-competition wise, I think I could have prepared a bit better. I knew coming into this that I didn't prepare for it at all. I didn't train specifically for it. I didn't peak for it, because I wanted to get back to my regular training right after I competed. So I didn't have a peaking phase. And I basically treated this comp as if it was just another climbing session. So I didn't do any of the peaking stuff, which probably would have prepared me way better to perform at my max. I think I probably would have, I was performing maybe 7 or like 6 or 7 out of 10 of my max. I think looking back on it, I can only reflect on that. Looking back on it, I can say that. But during the comp, it felt like I was trying my hardest, but I knew that I just wasn't very strategic about the way I was doing it. So that probably would have been another thing I would change next time. I want to be more, I guess, sneaky about things. I understand that um, that's not really how you get better at climbing, but I think to compete well, you don't really need to climb well. Well, you do need to climb to a certain point, but I think just worrying about the climbing isn't how I compete my best. Um, I think I could have been a bit more intentional with my climbing. I could have been a bit more focused and um, a little less worried about everything. I think deep down I really want climbing to work for me and to not get a job that I don't really like just to finance my climbing, but to really just climb and live off my climbing. And I think this was like a big indicator of what my future could have meant, and I'm just overthinking, and I overthink a lot, and I think that played a big role in why I didn't perform my best. I think I was just too worried, and I wasn't having fun, and I was just um, not not in the correct mindset. But this was a good competition because it gave me a lot of motivation. It definitely shows big a lot of the big weaknesses I have right now, and it's a good learning experience. I'm glad it happened, and um, I'm training hard. I'm training hard.